Welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And this is Nate Payne.
And today we're talking about Demon Night.
Tales from the Crypt.
Yay! Okay, I have to tell you, I rewatched this movie recently, and I had not seen it again in so long, but I used to have it on VHS, so I watch it all the time. When's the last time you gave it a rewatch?
I feel like this movie is one of the movies that comes up almost every time I'm trying to decide on a movie to watch, and so I watch it fairly often.
Now it came out in 1995, but I don't think I saw it in the theater. Maybe I did. I don't think I did. I think I saw it, like I rented it for the first time, but it became one of, like you, it was always in my repertoire of repeating watching it. It's such an
underrated movie. I think it's crazy that people don't talk about it more often. It came out, so I was 10 when the movie came out, and I believe I was in, would that be like 4th grade?
Yeah.
Roughly. Something. Anyway, we would watch Tales from the Crypt Keeper on Saturday mornings all the time on ABC.
Which I freaking love that they made a cartoon of it.
I know, I love it. Well, and that was my complete, like, that's all I knew about it was the cartoon. And then we moved to this town, and that town had Fox, which the town we moved from did not. And one night we were up at like 10:30, and it came on, like Tales from the Crypt came on. And I recognized the song, and I recognized the voice, and I was like, oh, it's a real people, Tales from the Crypt Keeper. Yes. We have to watch this. And it was the very first episode with where Santa Claus was a crazy man that had escaped from the institution, and he was trying to break into this house and climb up. I don't know if you've seen that one. It scared me so bad. I had to sleep on the floor in my mom's room for like weeks. But after that, we would watch it I think it was Fridays. We would watch it every single time, and it would come on. And then after was the 1980s Twilight Zone. So Tales from the Crypt was a huge deal for me. And when the movie was coming out, there would be commercials on it. And I remember there was some kind of contest. I have no idea what the contest was, but they would talk about how Tales from the Crypt is hitting the big screen. And so I was really excited to see it, but I couldn't because it was rated R, and it took a while. But then we rented it when it came out, because my mom would usually let us rent things and then just fast forward through certain parts if it got weird. And so I was so excited for the movie, and when I saw it, it traumatized me a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's heavy. It's not like a little kid horror movie. It's got some creepy stuff.
There is some really crazy imagery. The monster design, everything about it it's really good. My first note actually is just about when you first turn on the movie and it feels like an episode.
Yes.
Because the theme song is there, and immediately I was brought back to 4th grade.
Aww.
And the movie holds so much nostalgia for me, the series and everything.
Yeah, it's one of those movies for me. I immediately feel like a sense of comfort. I know that's weird.
No, I get it. That's how I feel about this movie too.
But it's like, I recognize it so much, and like every moment, it just feels like, okay, I can settle in and watch, and I feel like it's just like it's almost like a comfort food,
Yep, completely. That opening scene with there's always the wraparound story, and they're filming that movie, and like the lady in the bathtub with her boobs hanging out, and and then talking on the phone with her lover, and her husband comes in and turns around, and he's the guy from, is it Night Court?
Yes. John Larroquette, right?
Yes.
And
I love that. Like, the show often had these cameos from celebrities, and that was a thing I think that has kind of been lost in time. Tales from the Crypt at the time was like the it show to do cameos on. So you see all these, like, Ewan McGregor is in a couple episodes, and it's crazy. I don't know why he specifically popped up, but
because he's great.
Yes. Well, and Bill Sadler was actually in one of the very first episodes too.
Oh, that's so cool. So I love, first of all, just going back to Tales from the Crypt, and we don't have a current like horror anthology series like this. I mean, we've got seasons like
American Horror Story,
but we don't have like a week to week. But Jordan Peele is developing Twilight Zone. It's going to be on CBS All Access, which guess what? I'm going to pay for now because that's going to be amazing.
I'll keep you in touch with
But, you know,
me.
yeah, you come on over. But, you know, don't you think we need something like this?
We really do. And the thing about Tales from the Crypt, too, that, like, American Horror Story has a lot of humor, but it's still, at the end of the day, this really, like, dark and kind of depressing show.
Right.
And Tales from the Crypt, even though the episodes themselves were extremely dark, it still had this kind of sense of, like, lightheartedness to it.
It doesn't take itself so seriously.
Right. It's so... Yeah. Like, I mean, American Horror Story, you would not get the Crypt Keeper rap.
No. Exactly. You know, a couple cool things about this movie. First of all, it had a budget of $12 million. It made $21 million at the box office. It has an African-American director, Ernest Dickerson, and this African-American lead actress, Jada Pinkett. She wasn't Smith yet at the time.
Right.
And that's amazing.
Well, and also the fact that, I mean, how spoilery can I get?
Yeah, we're all spoilers.
Okay, good. So I know I've done that before. The fact that she is like not just the quote unquote final girl. I mean, she's the hero.
Yeah.
Of the movie, and you completely expect it to be William Sadler or
right.
really anybody else, because she's kind of when she's first introduced, she's this kind of like scullery maid from the prison to work program, and she's introduced kind of as a side character.
Yeah, and you don't expect it that she's going to be the hero of the tale. And my God, why isn't there a sequel starring her?
Oh, I know.
Like, this is the like one of the saddest realizations I had.
Yeah.
Rewatching this movie, it's like, ugh. Okay, but Cameron Diaz was supposed to be that part, and Ernest Dickerson said, "Nope, I'm going to cast Jada."
Isn't
that amazing?
Okay, so
Cameron
I wanted to address
Diaz?
that makes sense, because I have the novelization of this movie, and I've been reading it, and one of the very first things that I was like, what? Was that her character in the novel is described as having long blonde hair, and I was like, that's not what Jada Pinkett looks like, and now I get it.
So, like, good for him that he stood his ground and cast an African-American woman, and she's amazing.
Amazing. She and CCH Pounder steal this movie completely. Well, and Billy Zane.
Oh my God. Can we talk about Billy Zane for a minute? He's beautiful. This is like right before Titanic. I already loved Billy Zane because I loved The Phantom. I'm sorry. Wait, did that come out before or after this? I don't remember.
Probably before. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I don't care. I love Billy Zane. Does that make? I don't know what.
I love him in this movie.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've always he makes a great villain. I generally have liked him in everything I've seen, but this movie in particular,
he's really pretty.
I wrote a lot of notes that were just like, "Damn, Billy Zane."
Yes, right.
His performance is amazing. He goes from being like terrifying to sexy to hilarious, and like when he first summons the demons and he's like, "Oh, this podunk town," and
I love that part. And the cowboy hat, all of the puns, the soundtrack. I had this soundtrack. This was one of my rotating soundtracks.
I should look into it. I have not even heard it.
Oh, it's just, and then so all of the music, throughout when I was doing this rewatch, it's like, oh, I remember, putting that song on repeat or whatever. It's so good. The green slime in this movie, I read a little side note, they used the green slime from glow sticks.
Like the Predator blood.
Yeah, so it's like, it's really practical and easy.
That's cool. Yeah, the idea behind the demons and the way they're presented is very original in this, and I really like that about it. Like the shooting them in the eyes, and the way the lightning that comes out of their eyes is dangerous immediately after, and being able to like seal the different entrances and all of that it's really cool. And I think that Demon Knight was definitely my introduction to the kind of like demon siege movie genre, if that's a thing, but like, demons and even Evil Dead.
Right.
This one stands out to me because the design is so cool, like their hands and the way they have like hairstyles, and like every one is different, and
their movements
are fantastic. Just I wish I knew more about the special effects and like the people behind them,
right,
because they're really cool.
I just think it's so well done, and the setting is perfect because it's just this small town, and now they're in this one location, and
the old church converted into a hotel is
so cool.
So cool and so refreshing and new, and the cinematography in this movie, also is amazing. It reminds me kind of Creepshow.
Yeah.
How each shot is framed like a comic book, and there's a lot of color and there's a lot of like frenetic action going on, but it's not the kind of thing that like makes me tired to watch.
Right. Exactly. I was talking about a couple of the other actors and characters. Thomas Hayden Church, his character is so
douchey.
Yes, he's the worst.
And he wears a white fishnet shirt. I wrote that in my notes. I was like, this is not cool. I wore a white fishnet shirt in high school.
He's just the worst, and he's the worst to his. I guess it's not. I guess is it his girlfriend? I don't know.
I think he's her like main
client,
customer.
Yeah.
He's so terrible to her.
Billy Zane sweet talking, like how he can like he's trying to get in and he's like sweet talking. Oh my god.
I would immediately let him in.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
so would
everyone.
I would be the
I'd
worst.
be like, well, okay.
the movie would be a lot shorter if I started.
Well, and she let him in, and that was the practical effects of the way that people transform they're incredible. Like, It reminds me of The Thing.
Yes.
Like, the way the monsters are just, like, you can tell who they were, but they're no longer
Yes.
even close to that person anymore.
And that makes it even better because when you see some of their humanity left, it's like, it makes it more tragic.
Yeah, like, the face of her on this, like, monster body.
Yes.
It's just, whoa.
I also like how they reveal the backstory little by little through flashbacks instead of like, oh, here's this,
like a big chunk of exposition.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to do that in this movie. They little by little the story's getting revealed, and then we also aren't sure if we trust, or they're not sure if they trust William Sadler's character. Sadler, right? Not. I want to say
Sadler,
Sanderson. Yeah.
I have a poster.
Oh, there we go. William Sadler.
I hate that it says Billy Zane and William Sadler and does not say Jada Pinkett.
I know. That's not right.
That's dumb.
But, they're not sure if they can trust him. But really, he is the good guy. Oh, and this, just even the props, like the vial of blood, you know, and the backstory, and it's Jesus's blood and like the demons that were there. It's so cool.
Yes.
It's so well done.
Yeah. It reminds me, like, they could edit those scenes into the Passion of the Christ.
Yes, I love
really,
it. But, I wrote down Uncle Willie's fantasy. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
when he goes into like the
Billy
bar,
Zane is like, yeah, that's right,
and they're all the naked ladies.
Yeah, that's what it was. And then another favorite line, Irene saying, "This is me giving you the finger."
Yes. Oh, really. Everything about her. And the funny thing is, CCH Pounder is, like, well known. She does all these things now. And, for my entire life, to this day, she will always be the armless lady or the one-armed lady from Demon Knight.
Yes, she's so great. And I remember she was in a John Woo movie. Was she in Face Off or something? I don't know. She
plays that kind of character a lot, I think.
I love her. I love everything. So this is the point when I just like started watching the movie because I was watching it.
Same.
But I stopped taking notes because I just was engrossed.
Oh, I did write down, the last thing I wrote down was one of my favorite quotes from the movie, and it's when Billy Zane's like, humans are not worth the flesh they're printed on.
Nice.
It's like, that's such a great quote. It's hard for me not to get super engrossed in this movie. When people ask me, well, I'll wait until we review the movie.
Well, no, you can talk about it
when
now.
When people ask me my top 5 favorite movies, this is in there.
Wow.
Like, I would put this movie way up high on my list of favorite horror movies.
Yeah, I agree. And for some reason, it's not... What did I say the Rotten Tomatoes was? I don't remember.
Probably low.
But people don't really mention it or think about it that often.
Not talked about enough. I feel like Tales from the Crypt in general has kind of been relegated to the annals of time.
Right.
Like, nobody really knows about it that much. Horror fans, obviously, but it's not in the zeitgeist like it used to be.
Now,
it's been like more than 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. But why is it available to watch on anything? Do you know?
Yeah, it's on Blu-ray. It took forever for them to release it, but they did. By Scream Factory, who releases all the good movies.
True. Is it streaming anywhere though?
I know you can buy it on Vudu. I don't know
Okay.
if it's like streaming for free anywhere.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. It's available, I know for sure, on Vudu and Amazon Prime. I'm sure probably everything where you can buy movies. So.
Yeah.
And rent.
And so we should sometime pick a few Tales from the Crypt episodes and review those. Because,
I would completely do that.
Yeah, we should do that. What was the other? Tales from the Dark Side, right?
That is also a great show. Yeah, that's on Shudder.
Yes.
Although it's not every episode.
Oh.
I found out. Yeah, I was watching with my friend and we were going to watch a specific episode and it wasn't on there.
That's so weird.
Yeah, they have it's got to be a licensing thing. Like,
okay.
I would say from that season, only that one episode was missing, and there are 4 seasons, so I don't know. But I have it.
Yeah.
You can get that on DVD. You can get that whole series on DVD at Best Buy for like $25.
That's amazing.
I know.
You know, nowadays I stopped adding to my DVD collection, and I've just been streaming things, but sometimes you gotta buy the DVD.
Yeah, I have a lot, but I've largely, before Netflix was a thing, I had a real problem, and I have slowed down very much on buying movies. But yes, Demon Knight is definitely one I would need. Like Tales from the Crypt was a series I needed to, because even streaming that show is expensive. So I was like, I might as well just buy the DVDs.
Yeah.
Of them.
When I lived, before I moved to Duluth, I lived in the country, and you couldn't have internet. Like, you could get satellite internet, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
So we didn't have streaming Netflix. And so I would just buy DVDs of, like, I want to watch this show. I've never seen it before. I would just buy it, and that's what we did. Now, of course, I'm much more picky about what I purchase, and I usually purchase it on, like, digital. But
yeah. Most of the things I buy still are older movies from like the 80s and 90s and 70s and earlier. I just find that more new things tend to show up streaming more reliably.
Yeah, true.
Plus, I tend not to watch new things multiple times. At least not horror. Like, horror I do. Like Hereditary. I'll probably watch that every day for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's cool. What else should we say? What else should we say about Demon Knight?
Demon Knight, I know we waxed poetic and then switched subjects a bunch of times. I don't know. It's so good.
It is. It's
the kid monster.
Oh, yes. Just
all the callbacks to the idea of it being a comic book. And one thing I guess worth mentioning is that the movie is not. It doesn't hold the same structure that the episodes of the show did. Like, EC Comics are kind of known for being these morality tales, where there's somebody committing a crime and then they get their comeuppance in some kind of ironic way. And this movie does not really do that, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It's still, like, the perfect film. And it's definitely a high point for Tales from the Crypt.
I think so,
I don't know.
too.
Have you seen Bordello of Blood?
Yeah, I remember not loving it.
It's bad.
It's Dennis Miller.
Yeah, Dennis Miller. I have that Blu-ray as well because it came out at the same time, and I was like, well, I gotta have both of them. Dennis Miller in the commentary is such a douche, and he hated everything about that movie and working on it, and he was too good for it. And
something
I don't like him.
Everybody talks about, like, they have their SNL cast of, kind of like when they started watching, when they grew up with. Dennis Miller, I think, was doing the news when I was growing up, and I always remember when he was, like, in a sketch, I was like, why is he in there? He's not an actor. And so when I heard that he was in Bordello of Blood, I'm like, he's not an actor. Like, why is he doing this? I guess
he's bad in it too.
So yeah, I hardly remember it. I didn't like it. But Demon Knight, it's like I said, the setting is so good, and then they have this the plot of the tunnels, and they're trying to escape, and it ends up being a trap, and everything is so well done. I just can't get over it.
Yeah, I know. If there are flaws in this movie, I am not aware of them, and it's solely because I can't watch this movie without having, like, extreme nostalgia glasses.
Yes.
And there aren't very many things I get really nostalgic about, but Tales from the Crypt is definitely one of them.
I agree. And for some reason, I'm looking at your DVDs right now. Is that all the seasons?
I have all the seasons and the seasons of Tales from the Crypt Keeper, too.
Oh, that is so cool. How many seasons of the cartoon are there?
There were 3, but I only have the first 2. The third one was... They, like, switched to a different network.
Oh.
different animation style, more aimed at, like, little kids. So
Tales from the Crypt, was it, you said it was on Fox?
Originally it was an HBO show,
That's
but
what I
they
thought.
did play, like, I don't know if they were edited or if they just didn't show some of the episodes, but yeah, it was late night.
I see.
Although I do remember watching, there's an episode with Tim Curry, Death of Some Salesman, and he plays every character in this one family, and, like, a salesman comes by, and then they decide that he needs to, like, marry their daughter, who is horrifying. And why am I talking about this?
I guess because we were saying if it was on Fox or on
Oh, yeah,
HBO.
yeah. In the HBO version, it opens with a very explicit sex scene, and I remember seeing it for the first time and, like, that, and being like, this isn't what I saw. So,
Okay.
yeah, they were edited.
I wonder, I don't know. You'd think that it would be available on HBO Go, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not on... the distribution must be different now, because on there it does say... I know it's owned by Warner Brothers, but on the back of the boxes for the DVD it still says HBO, so... But clearly it's not just HBO anymore.
Right. So the way that this movie ends, you think William Sadler is going to save the day and he's our hero, but Jada Pinkett Smith is the next chosen one, and she gets the stars, and the next time that they align, it means that, you know, this battle's going to go down, and she gets on the bus. Do you think she should have wasted that drop of blood to seal the bus? What's your opinion?
No. I think that if something were coming, she could seal it in the bus.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's
I think it's about time for those stars to realign, though. Personally, I think they could still do a sequel.
They
and
totally
they should.
You know, it's like at this point in her life, she's older, she's wiser. Maybe she's got a family.
Fantastic, right?
If you're listening, anybody who's willing to greenlight this,
and get Jada Pinkett.
yeah, Jada
Smith,
Pinkett Smith can totally still star in it.
Yeah.
How amazing would this be? Even if it's just a made for HBO movie. Like, come on!
I would watch it.
I would watch the crap out of it. Jeez.
But they still have to use practical effects.
Yeah.
And Billy Zane should be.
He
in
could
it
come back.
somehow.
I mean, I think that demons can morph into whoever they want to morph into. So, you know, he's just going to get the same face.
Oh, man. It would be so cool if there was another, just the same, it's Billy Zane, but like a different creature that looks like him. I don't know.
Yes. I would watch this.
Yeah.
What else do you want to say about Demon Knight? Anything?
I think I'm good.
We're just like, we love it!
I know, we love it so much. 10.
Okay, so speaking of the rating, 0 to 10, 0 being you hated it, 10 being it's a perfect movie, what's the scale? Is it the stars? The stars on the hand.
Let's go with stars this time, yeah.
And they have a line for me. You go first, though. How many stars?
I have to give it a 10.
Okay.
Like I said, if there are major flaws in the movie, I'm blind to them.
I'm giving it a 10 because this is one of those movies, like I said, it's like my comfort food, and when I put it on and that, like, Hey Man, Nice Shot, that song, that picture, like, whenever I hear that song, it's this movie, and I just feel at home.
Yeah.
That's freaking
how
love
I feel
this
about
movie.
this movie, too. It was one of my first horror movies, and I have so many good memories attached to Tales from the Crypt, like being a kid and eating popcorn and, like, laying on my mom's bed, like, on the stomach watching TV, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it.
If you haven't watched this movie ever, you need to go watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you haven't seen it in a long time, give it a rewatch. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah. I think you'll be surprised.
Yeah. This is time for our fast forward segment. Do you mind, Nate, if we talk a bit about Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3?
Let's talk about Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3.
So, it's over, and I'm sad, but I'm just grateful that we had it for as long as we did.
Yeah. It's so sad, though.
I know. So Ash, like, his character this season was able to have, he found out about this daughter that he had, Brandy, who I ended up really
I hated
liking.
her at first.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this is going to be so dumb. And by the end, I was like, oh, she's my other favorite character. Like, she and Pablo and
Kelly
could easily carry their own show.
I agree.
And I hope they do, kind of.
I know.
Somehow.
Well, I would watch either show, or I'd watch both shows simultaneously,
Yeah.
like him in this future.
I know. Well, and of course Bruce Campbell's like, oh, I'm retiring the character, and he always says that, and he also is now voicing him in a video game. So I don't know. I think it would be really great if the game is based on the show, because it would be nice to get a little more of those other characters and give them more of a conclusion.
I agree. Speaking of Kelly, she's going to be at Crypticon in Minneapolis this year.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool.
I'm coming.
Yeah, you're coming.
I've never gone, but please.
No, you're coming. You're
time.
coming this year, and I will be there. Meg will be there. We have a table, and Nate will be there. So if you want to come by and meet us, come by.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to mention, this is a little plug for Gothic Gifts, which is what I'm going to have a table for, of horror themed products. Ash gives Brandy the necklace that he gave Linda. And I have that necklace for sale through Gothic Gifts on Etsy, or come see me in person in Minneapolis. So I just love that, though. Like, there's so many perfect throwbacks to the movies in this series. And this series, when have you seen horror done this well in a little weekly 20-minute episode?
I know. Some of the best moments in the entire franchise are in the show.
Yes.
Like, I will never... I still, like, nothing surpasses that morgue scene in season 2.
Yes.
Like, nothing will. It's so perfect and gross.
and Ashy Slashy, the puppet, like, that is amazing. This season, there were so many great things, too. There was something really...
At the mother's funeral was a truly wonderful moment when he was fighting her deadite in her coffin and ended up in her coffin, and then in the middle of the funeral, he comes, like, rolling out all covered with blood and holding the severed head, and he's like,
Yes.
this is awkward timing. Like,
so great.
I mean, there were things, like, I felt for a show that had only 20-minute episodes, there was a bit of wheel spinning at times. I think the show dragged a few times, but for me, I felt like season 3, they were kind of back on track and starting to really pull out a lot of stops, and it would have been really cool to see what their plan was for the next season. And I know they had talked from the beginning about having a 5-year plan, so it would be really great to see what they had in mind. I kind of hope they either do like a comic series, which I could totally see, or this upcoming video game. I think would be a really good opportunity
to explore those storylines.
I know. And I don't know, fingers crossed, knock on wood, I hope something happens.
Yeah, I do too. I'm thankful that we even got it to begin with, because it seems like I'm in a coma and imagining it.
Oh yeah,
because
it totally seems unreal that I never would have expected a more Evil Dead.
No.
Like with Bruce Campbell.
Exactly. Like, I was happy with the reboot, like the remake or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this exists. I'm happy with that.
Yep.
And now we got this gift of 3 seasons.
So many hours of Ash and more.
And hilarity. Like, it's quality and it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's very well written. The one-liners are all amazing.
Yes.
The making fun of Ash's age and just his character and going back to his house from childhood is so cool to see his old room and to see Linda's old room. And I would have loved to see, I would imagine down the road they would have eventually talked about his mom, which would have been cool.
Right.
Like having Linda come back, just yep.
I freaking loved that show. So I'm sad that it ended, but I'm also thankful that we got what we did. Yeah. And speaking of which, we'll talk about the original Evil Dead sometime, you and I.
Yeah, I need to be on that.
So
I have a little bit of Evil Dead experience.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but Nate played Ash in Evil Dead the musical. How many times?
4.
4 times.
Yeah, 4 times in between 2009 and 2013 was the last year we did it. And I can't remember how many performances it is, but I know we did at least 12 per time. So
that is amazing.
At least 48 performances.
Like, how many calories do you think you burn in one evening of
I can
Evil
promise
Dead?
you that I have like permanent back and knee damage from doing that show so much. Yeah, no, I can tell you I lost a lot of weight and was in good shape each year that we did it. It was the most vigorous acting, and holy crap.
Yeah.
So slippery. We were so
The fake blood is all over the place.
Yeah, we were not careful enough about safety.
Oh.
You should be, but
Well, like, it could have been worse too. Like, thankfully nobody broke a bone or anything.
Nobody broke anything permanently, I don't think.
Wow.
We did have every single year, every year we had something horrible happen. The first year, both Annie and I had H1N1 on the night, on Halloween night, where we had 2 performances.
Oh,
so
my
there was
gosh.
a 7 performance and then a midnight performance.
Yes.
Both of us were running on fevers of 101, 102. It was awful. The second year was mostly uneventful, but then the third year, somebody got sick, throwing up, immediately before we were supposed to come out on stage. So it was Ashley who played Shelley. And so she was, violently ill all of a sudden. We were all in line. They had called places. We were there. And so we had to quickly come up with something, and Bree Taylor was our music director, and we were like, okay, take your outfit that you have on and make it sexy. You're gonna play Shelley right now, and you know the music well enough because she had worked on it every year we did it. And we were like, you are gonna be the drunk lady he picked up at a bar, so just play it how you can. We got out there. She played Shelley in Act 1, and then in Act 2, she's only a demon, so she had the mask, and she didn't know the choreography, but she knew the music. So we had Greg, our director, put on a bad wig and put on her entire outfit and go out and do all the dancing, and he lip-synced to her backstage over the mic.
That's amazing!
Yes, it was hilarious, and it was the perfect... I mean, if something like that is going to happen in a show, Evil Dead is the show for it. And then we had a similar experience the very last year we did it. Our Cheryl got ill, and she could not sing, completely lost her voice. It was one performance. I think it was the final performance. And poor girl lost her voice, and we all felt really sad about it. And then she was able to do her lines, but couldn't sing. So
I was there at that performance.
Yeah, we had Annie do all her singing from backstage again, and she lip-synced it, and it was really funny. And at one point, when Kendra, who was Linda, was her real line was supposed to be, her eyes, did you see her eyes? But she said, the voice is coming from all around us. How is this happening? And, so many good memories about that show.
I loved it. And that, too, if you have a production of this playing anywhere near you, you have to go see Evil Dead the musical.
It's so worth seeing. And sit in the splatter zone.
Yeah, it's worth it. Don't worry about it. If it doesn't come out, you have memories that'll last forever.
Yeah, and they should give you a t-shirt anyway. Yeah. That was our whole thing. I've seen people walk around in those shirts, and every single time I'm it makes me so happy.
Oh, yes. I freaking love it. Oh, this is going back on a tangent now, side note, but you were mentioning what good shape you got into when you were in that musical. Speaking of good shape, Pablo friggin' worked out this season. Did you see him shirtless?
So ridiculous. He talks about it on Instagram and Twitter.
Oh, did he?
He works so hard to keep up his physique.
He was freaking ripped.
Yeah, he's adorable.
Wow. So anyway, check out Ash vs. Evil Dead, all of the seasons. Season 3 is not on streaming yet, I don't think, but
not
should
yet.
be soon.
Well, you can buy it streaming.
There you go.
I got my copy yesterday in the mail.
Oh, I saw your Instagram about it. Beautiful.
Good times.
So we hope that you are having an excellent week, Horror Rewind listeners. And until next time, we'll see you in the horror section.
Thank you much.